Hey everyone, so this is Elementary. I was going to put episodes 19 and 20 together, but after seeing episode 20 and reading the description of episode 21, I'm going to put episodes 20 and 21 together. So I'm just doing episode 19 by itself here. So it's season 5, episode 19, called High Heat. So basically, we're seeing Sherlock, what kind of nursing his wounds a little bit, after Shinwell, beat him up and everything, so, and, Joan and Sherlock are trying to deal with, the idea of, Shinwell having actually killed someone and all that, so still trying to deal with that throughout the whole episode. But the whole main episode is trying to figure out who was burned alive in a furnace at a morgue. So basically, one of the victims, Sherlock finds out, is a guy named Frederick Kirby, who, according to Sherlock, is the worst PI in the city. And he got it off of I think a silver gold tooth that was still pretty much intact. Still intact in the rubble or whatever. And the second guy, they think it is his employee named Wallace, or aka Pinky. They think it's the second, because there's two people who were burned alive in the furnace, and one of them is definitely Kirby, but the other one they don't know for sure. They think it's Kirby's driver, Pinky, because Pinky is missing as well. So, but we find out that Kirby has had a dozen restraining orders against him, and all filed within a couple of days, and all that. So, Sherlock's thinking the reason why there was a lawsuit was because Kirby was looking into a shooting in 1987 when about a dozen or so people were sworn in as citizens, and that those, like, I don't know, maybe not dozen or so, it was like five men who were being sworn in as citizens, and those 5 men had something to do with the Chernobyl incident in 1986, when there was a nuclear explosion at a plant on April 26th of 86. So apparently those 4 men who were suspected to have committed that crime mysteriously disappeared, and then Sherlock's thinking that they were granted citizenship in 1987. But Kirby apparently was trying to get a blood test done, see if they're at, but Sherlock was thinking that the blood test was to see if those men had any of the chemicals that got blown everywhere, and everywhere, and it stays in your system for hundreds of years, apparently. But when they find the scientist who Kirby was using, named Drexel, turns out it was for a paternity test, not a chemical test, like a test to see if there was any chemicals in your body. And it was for someone named C. Gibson, who apparently had a temper. but the blood wasn't viable and came back inconclusive. So that that was a dead end there. But they find out that the C stood for Carter, and so they go to Carter Gibson, or they find out Carter Gibson was actually Carter Dunwoody until 2007. And he was the son of Rita Dunwoody, who was the spouse of the shooter who killed the 4 new citizens back in 1987. And Carter was convinced that the shooter wasn't his father, and when the paternity test done on the 4 men that he had killed. At Carter's house, we find that it was a mess, and that they think he killed Kirby and the driver, but then you realize it was Carter who was burned alive with Kirby instead of the driver. So, the driver apparently turned up in a hospital suffering from meningitis and had 104 degree fever that made him delirious, and say that his name was something other than what his real name actually was. So it wasn't the driver. Joan and Marcus then, figure out why Ronald Jones, the shooter, in 1987, shot the people in the courthouse. Found out Carter wasn't his son, and figured it was one of the 4 men who were being sworn in as citizens. And Carter had reached out to his paternal grandfather after years of estrangement to find out more about his disease, CMT, since it's genetic and it doesn't run through the mother's line, it runs on the father's side. And that's, since his mother obviously didn't have it, then he had to figure out if his father had it, anybody in his father's side had it. And since nobody on his father's side had it, it's pretty clear that Ronald Jones wasn't his father. Let's see. There's this guy named Lewis. Well, no, I'll get to that later. Cause that was a B plot line. I'm trying to focus on the main storyline at the moment. Anyway, so turns out Rita Dunwoody had an affair with Virginia Spivey's husband. Virginia Spivey is the wife or the widow of the courthouse bailiff who had tackled Ronald Jones when he started shooting at these 4 men. And turns out that Virginia Spivey's son, Houston Spivey, had killed Paul, or had killed Carter and Kirby. So, and they find the murder weapon with Houston's prints on it. So, anyway, Carter and Kirby were extorting Houston for $50,000 and stuff like that, because if it came out that, they just didn't want that, so Houston didn't want that to come out that his father had an affair with Carter's mom and all that. So that's basically the whole main storyline. The B plot line is someone has to deal with Kirby, but it's kind of self-contained. Kirby was part of this organization called NIOPE, which stands for the New York, I have it written down here somewhere, it's it stands for the New York Order of Private Investigators. So, Louis Garmendia is president of that organization, and turns out apparently Joan had signed herself and Sherlock up for NIOPE, a couple years back when he had gone back to London for a little while and she had stayed in New York. I think she said that she was already signed up, but she had signed him up when he had come back, and she just didn't tell him about it. And basically, Sherlock's whole deal with Niobe is that it doesn't require people to it doesn't require them to be to pass any rigorous tests or anything to be certified as a competent or very, very excellent detective, private detective. So it just allows people who just come off the street and just do it and be certified as one and just pay, because all you have to do is like pay an annual fee or whatever. So that was his whole deal with being signed up and associated with people on the Niobe organization. So throughout the whole episode, Sherlock is trying to like bring Niobe down and all that, and he manages to makes him change it to Niobe. One was he changed the name to S5EP, which stands for the Empire State Order of Private Investigators. He made the made the logo into a gold star instead of a silver one, and had a test incorporated for anyone who wanted to basically stay, and it's a pretty much rigorous test. So that is the entire episode, and I'm kind of sad that they made Shinwell look like this bad guy. I was hoping that he'd stay a good guy. I mean, I'm still hoping, but I'm not as optimistic about it as before. So, I mean, maybe they'll bring him back since he's a recurring character. So maybe they'll bring him back for like the season finale, and have him actually be this good guy instead of the bad guy they're painting him as. So hopefully there's that. Now, yeah. So, like I said, I'm gonna pretty much put episodes 20 and 21 together since pretty much, even though the main plot line of 21 is a main plot line, and episode 20 it's a B plot line. It sort of goes together. It sort of flows together. That's why I'm doing it like that, because it sort of goes together in a way. So that's why I'm only doing episode 19 today, and I'll do episodes 20 and 21 on Monday, hopefully. And as far as Rosewood goes, I'm going to keep episodes, I think 19 and 20 together, since the 20 is since Friday is the season finale. I'm just gonna make put those two, this week's episode and last week's episode together. Just do it that way, just easier. And that way I can just do it on Monday as well. So knock both of those out on the same day. So, but yeah, I don't know. This whole season for Elementary has been kind of. It's had its highs and then it's had its plateaus and stuff. I mean, I feel like maybe it's coming to an end now. Like this whole entire series is coming to an end now. I'm not sure how much longer they can keep going, but who knows. Hi, Cora. Hello. Hello. Bee. Go pee. Go pee. Sorry, the dog was let out just now. Anyway, so, it feels like maybe, because the first season or two were really good, and then season 3 and 4 were kind of like starting to go down a little bit as far as episode, like how well the episodes were and stuff. So I don't know, maybe season 5 is the last season, I don't know, who knows. But, I am thinking maybe they might...
Oh, look at boy. You going with me to pick up Wesley later?
I guess I could.
It's up to you. Just somebody, you just ride along.
Where are you gonna go somewhere?
I'm trying to think about it because I ain't do my hair.
Okay.
I might stop at this little garden place. I need to ask them. I might get some more plants, and I need to ask them about planting tomatoes in Texas because I don't want to kill these.
Okay.
I want to get some advice on, the sun and all that, and not only tomatoes, but look at a couple of other things like look at a couple more tomatoes, and I'm gonna get maybe a couple more peppers, and then I gotta put my herbs in my container, but I gotta finish spray painting those. Somebody said we're gonna mow the lawn.
Well, I'll think about it.
Okay, yeah, that's all I'm
Sorry about that. Kind of got asked a question here. I'm not gonna edit that out. It's it'd take too much long. Take long to edit that whole part out. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe this might be the last season. I mean, as much as I love Sherlock and his brand of humor and wit, I don't think that I don't know how much longer it can go. I mean, as much as I love it, I mean, maybe we'll see. I mean, usually they renew shows right around now. Maybe not this early because it's still April, but usually once May 1st kind of rolls around, they tend to renew their shows. But CBS kind of put Elementary in the Sunday time slot, which is the kiss of death on that network. Because it's a fucking kiss of death on that network. They'll put shows on the Sunday time slot. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, that's as far as that network goes, the kiss of death for any show in any time slot. It's pretty much the kiss of death because CSI Cyber was on Wednesday nights, I think. Its first entire season, it did well, and then when they put it to Sundays, it went all the shit because it always got preempted by football. So, I mean, football season's over. I mean, as far as NFL goes, but still kind of like kiss of death for any show on that Sunday time slot. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. If it'll go to the sixth season. I think they might have already, but I have no idea. I didn't check. But as far as like storylines go, it's just been kind of not. There were a couple episodes this season that were kind of like pretty good. Episode 20 was, as far as the B plotline goes, episode 20 was good this season, but this Friday's or Sunday's episode should be pretty good. It sounds pretty good. I didn't see the promo for it because they didn't have it on YouTube yet, but Sunday's episode looks pretty good. Or sounds pretty good. I'm wanting to see more of how Marcus will handle the situation from episode 20 or in 21. So we'll see. But I'm thinking he's just to make a prediction. I'm thinking he's gonna go off the reservation at some point because he's gonna try to not go off the reservation, but I think he's gonna go off the reservation for in the second half, or maybe not even a second. He might even go like 50, like go off the reservation 50 minutes in. So, but who knows? I think he's going off the reservation to get his brand of justice done. So, just for a future prediction. So, who knows? But anyway, that's all I have for today. I will definitely do Catfish tomorrow since Catfish comes on tonight since it's Wednesday. Still salty about that promo they showed for Catfish a few weeks back. I'm so salty about that. I'm sorry. Anyway, I will see you guys later.